We are far deep into the road to WrestleMania, and we've been delayed from talking about this. I've been going through a lot of stuff. I don't want to get into that. But we're back. CM Punk took on Seth Rollins again in a steel cage match. So remember when I mentioned in the finally video that I said that CM Punk called out John Cena and The Rock? Well, he proceeded to also call out Becky Lynch and telling her that she better come get her man before CM Punk gets him and put him in a wheelchair. And Seth Rollins didn't like that at all. You see, Seth Rollins was pissed that his wife was used in this argument, and then proceeded to violently go down the ring, fight the living crap out of Punk, and then brawl throughout the arena. So naturally, emotions are running high. But just when you thought it could get any worse, after they got broken up and were separated, they proceeded to violently brawl backstage. Oh no, I can't imagine the reference from that. And Adam Pearce finally decides to put his foot down. He's like, no, you will finish this in a steel cage match. Because I am Adam Pearce, damn it. And I already lashed out once before my entire career, and that was against Ronda Rousey. And I already have a history with that, and we don't need to cover that rotten egg. So, yeah, it was decided that Seth Rollins and CM Punk would go at it one more time inside a steel cage, and okay, I'm gonna be honest, I know I'm about to say going to be unpopular for WWE fans, especially tribalists, and especially when I have to bring up CM Punk for this. I kind of like AEW's take on the steel cage match formula as opposed to WWE's formula, where you could easily just escape and get out of there and win the match. Whereas the steel cage match in AEW was much more violent and allowed you to use weapons from under the ring, because the cage was stretched out enough for you to accommodate for that. I kind of like that formula, especially since there is no escape unless you actually break through it. Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley, anyone. But seeing this match, it just reminded me why I like the AEW cage match so much, because it's like a hybrid of Hell in a Cell and steel cage that you're used to, but that's a totally different topic altogether. But as this has been going on, Seth Rollins was naturally freaking happy that he was going to get his hands on CM Punk after the Rumble debacle. And we all know how that went. And after Seth Rollins screwed him at Elimination Chamber, where Seth Rollins once again screams at his employers to drop dead, because it seems like that's Seth Rollins' character now, where if he hates someone with a fiery passion, he wants them dead. He wants them to die. He wants them to suffer eternal torment. And yet, throughout the whole thing, even though he's tried to do it twice, he tried to kill Roman Reigns, and yet he's never screaming at him, die! 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 Oh god, imagine if, I think I said this before in a group chat with my friends. Imagine if we had gotten 2019 to 2021 Colby Lopez, aka Seth Rollins, and CM Punk now interacting. Because let me be clear, CM Punk would tear Seth Rollins to shreds when Seth Rollins was in that whole wave the WWE flag like a chauvinistic patriot. Even when they did stuff that even he looked back on and was like, yeah, I'll admit that was bullshit. Like the Hell in a Cell ending. Ain't that right, Colby? You know, that thing you kept defending because you had no say in the matter, and you used the Undertaker and Mick Foley back in 98 saying they would have stopped it if they could, even though back then they had every option to stop it, and there was audible calls saying don't stop the match because they were making something out of that. And they said, okay, now looking back, they could say, well, okay, yeah, we should have stopped the match after the second fall. But, yeah, that's a completely different can of worms. I've already covered that in my old NRE channel, Near Reality Entertainment, where I tore down and deconstructed Seth Rollins' points that he made during that time when he was the chauvinistic WWE patriot. But if that Seth Rollins took on CM Punk now, that would have been a slaughter. That would have been a guaranteed slaughter. I'm surprised Punk hasn't referenced the time when he did that, when he kept defending everything WWE did, save for the third-party rights stuff. Because I think even he was like, okay, look, I defended you with the Hell in a Cell ending. I can't publicly come out and say this. If I defend that, I'm basically killing my career. Like, I already shot in the foot multiple times. I am not defending this. Sorry, not sorry. But, yeah. I just need to say that. But Punk and Seth Rollins finally got their cage match. And it was their... And I kind of still keep wishing for some manner of blood being used for major matches like this. Just to emphasize the violence. And this match was fucking insane. Like, it was intense. Like, they kept going at it. They kept... And there were so many times I wanted to see one of them jump off the top of the cage. Probably not a good idea, but still would have been awesome. It's just so insane that we're doing this, and it's just such a fun match to see. But I did enjoy this match. I really did. And then, after being gone for a little over a month, after Seth Rollins stomped CM Punk several times and then landed a GTS and then goaded Punk into coming back into the ring, not taking the coward's way out as he would have seen it, and instead come out and finish the fight, CM Punk got goaded into it, and Seth Rollins proceeds to start dominating the match over time and get two big stomps in. One being a super curb stomp, and the other one being a regular stomp beforehand. And Seth Rollins looks like, okay, this is it. I finally have fulfilled my prophecy. Now it's time to end this. And before he can officially end this crusade and end his holy mission of WWE patriotism, guess who would go ahead and strangle him out of the cage and costing Punk the match, and yet leaving him unscathed from the events, but the returning and understandably pissed off Roman Reigns, because as we all remember, at the Rumble, Seth Rollins stomped on his head twice and proceeded to violently go crazy, and one being on the steel steps. And Roman decides to pay dividends after Seth Rollins realizes, oh shit, I forgot this guy. Are we still cool from what happened at the Rumble? Roman just Superman punches him when he tries to get up, and then proceeds to spear him on the floor. And then he tosses him over the steel steps, looking all clumsily, kind of looking a little bit realistic, like, yeah, this is not like scripted, this is like them trying to kill each other. And then Roman, because he needs to fulfill the prophecy, hear me out, because the night prior to this Monday Night Raw, AEW had Revolution, and because for some strange fucked up reason that makes no sense, actually, it kind of does. I just wanted to say that. But for fucked up reasons that I will never understand, it seems here's my conspiracy. My conspiracy is that Jon Moxley, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns still call each other, and they're like, hey, look, we're going to do a show the night prior. I'm going to do the stomp, and since Seth Rollins is already going to do a stomp, Roman, can you do a stomp for me so we can still act like we're still running things, because we pretty much are at this point. Like, I'm the world champ, you're the main attraction, Roman, and Seth Rollins, you're the workhorse of the WWE. Like, we're still running this, right? Like, 10 plus years, we're still running the whole shebang. Because Roman Reigns proceeds to curb stomp Seth Rollins, and I've got to be honest, with Roman Reigns' size and stature, I was like, man, that looks, like, Seth Rollins' stomps are vicious. Imagine getting stomped by Roman. But yeah, the Shield still run things. 24 hours earlier, Jon Moxley does the stomp. Then Seth Rollins does the stomp, and now Roman Reigns does the stomp. I'm definitely sure there's no correlation whatsoever on that. It makes me wish we still had that triple threat match at WrestleMania, but You know, all AEW and WWE need to do is stop pissing each other's executive off and come together and come to an agreement, and they can do John Moxley, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and we could get our legendary triple threat match. Anyways, but moving on from that part, so Roman Reigns, after stomping Seth Rollins' head in, decides to grab him and decide to finish the job once and for all, end this crusade of his trauma, to try and stomp Seth Rollins' head in. Failed miserably because Adam Pearce and security came to the rescue. No, Roman, we can't allow this. He's our big star and our main attraction, so we can't afford to lose this. Mostly for our own sake. But, yeah, after that, Roman Reigns is looking all pissed off like, damn it. Like, I could kick their asses, but I'm pretty certain I'll lose money for that. So, what do I do now? And then he turns and looks at the cage and sees CM Punk being cradled by his wise man, Paul Heyman, trying to console him in his arms. And Roman Reigns is looking at the two and thinking to himself, no doubt, wise man? Are you cheating on me? And then he gets up. Then he walks away from the security because they didn't think that through, and proceeds to enter the cage, and culminating in the ultimate violation that he did to Paul Heyman. Because here's the thing, they addressed this. Paul Heyman revealed when Roman Reigns was gone after he lost the world title, that there was an agreement between him and Paul Heyman that the bloodline, and by extension Roman Reigns, could not touch CM Punk because of CM Punk and Paul Heyman's friendship. However, Roman Reigns looks at Paul Heyman, looking at him and being like, are you cheating on me? And proceeds to violate that agreement by attacking Punk, throwing him through the cages twice before spearing him and roaring to the crowd. And here's the thing, I've been enjoying Roman Reigns' reception he's been getting. It's the culmination piece of 10 years of storytelling. That's 10 years of trying to get the love of the fans. And it took just an additional 10 years, so I don't know if that's a problem with Vince's idea of progress. But hey, Triple H finished the job, so we could praise for that. And the only reason Roman Reigns even got to turn heel was because of COVID, and Roman was like, I'll come back if you take COVID seriously and make me a heel. And I'm pretty sure Vince was like, thinking to himself, okay, so if I take COVID seriously and Roman comes back, I have to make him a heel. Or do I keep being stubborn and being an asshole about this and risk people dying? Or I lose my multi-million dollar investments with Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns? I'm familiar with murder, but losing my big investments, I've already lost a lot of money from that. Okay, fine. I'll give you what you all want. I'll take COVID seriously. I'll give Roman Reigns the heel run he's been demanding. I want Paul Heyman. Damn it! Okay, fine. I'll give you Paul Heyman. Let's just do this. Let's just get this over with. It's not like it's going to matter anyways. It ended up mattering for Roman's career long term. And look, he's now being cheered. His name is being sung in international crowds. That's a different topic. And yeah, Roman Reigns is getting the OTC, and whatnot. And he has another shirt design that's similar to the OTC shirt, but he has something called YTC, say your tribal chief. I can't work with that. Not because it's bad or anything, because every time I see YTC, I'm thinking yeet tribal chief, which makes me laugh thinking about that, because Jey Uso is pretty much in the background at this point, even though he's the Royal Rumble winner, and that's a completely different topic I want to go over later down the road. But I digress. So now, Roman Reigns is pissed, Punk is out cold, Seth Rollins is pissed, being cradled by security, and the wise man is like, I didn't cheat on you, I swear. So, yeah. And then this leads into a SmackDown segment a few nights later, and Roman and Seth Rollins look like they're gonna fight. Then Punk comes out, calls them both out, say how they have never defeated me without the other one's help. And I was hoping, I know he probably can't say it, but I wanted him to come out and say, there was a third guy. I think he couldn't beat me either. Until he eventually did, and he beat me quicker than any of you ever did. Like, it would have been nice if Punk could have been allowed to reference his time in AEW, just that moment where he lost to Jon Moxley in under 5 to 7 minutes, and say how he was the top guy of the Shield, and you two just rode his coattails the whole time. That would have been an awesome shot to Roman and Seth Rollins' history with Punk. Sadly, that isn't going to happen, probably. Tragic, even though they have referenced AEW on several occasions, and even Garcia took a shot at Tony Khan and Cody Rhodes' relationship. I don't know if they have hatred for each other in real life, but I think they're still buddies. Could be wrong. But yeah. It led to a big brawl between Punk, Seth, and Roman, and culminating with them having to be yelled up, leading to all of them pointing at the side saying, "This is my destiny," and whatnot. And all of them standing tall until Roman beat the crap out of all of them with steel steps. So pure chaos. And Punk keeps bringing up the favor he's owed. I'll get to that later in another video, but yeah. It's a bit of a wild ride so far, and yeah, I haven't talked about the contract signing. I might make a separate video about that, but yeah, this has been an insane road to WrestleMania so far for the two big matches there. I haven't talked about anything else because I don't really keep track of everything else, and I've kind of forgotten Volta versus Jey Uso outside of the fact that that Jey won the Rumble, which is a problem, but that's a different subject altogether. But yeah, this was your host Eric Brown of NRE Wrestleverse. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, check out my content in the description below. Stay tuned for more. I'll see you all again next time, and enjoy NRE 10.